You know, I gotta tell you, this was way more fun when this was much more hypothetical and like a lot less inevitable. Hey everyone, my name is Melody. Thank you for clicking on this video. Welcome to the third and final and most depressing edition of Melody Reacts to Your Jack Eichel Trade Offers. I can't believe this is actually happening. I figured I had to get this video in pretty quickly because it seems like things are really picking up on the Jack Eichel trade front all of a sudden for some reason. Yeah, let's rush this along, guys. Pierre LeBrun from The Athletic and TSN said today, "Nobody said the Stanley Cup playoffs had to be over before Jack Eichel potentially gets moved." Okay, yeah, let's not wait. Let's just do this as quickly as possible. You know, why? Isn't it fun that these represent exactly half of the Jack Eichel jerseys that I own? Why do I do this to myself? So with all this talk and chatter that Jack Eichel is likely to get traded, and it's likely to be soon, I figured I'd do this one more time. If you guys remember last year, I did 2 different videos on Jack Eichel trade offers from you guys, and that was actually kind of the start of me talking about hockey on YouTube. I was really, at that point, only being on YouTube to be a musician. I was only doing music videos, and kind of as a joke, I did this idea of reacting to Jack Eichel trade offers because at the time, like, I made a Sabres song and Rangers fans were just absolutely driving me nuts with all these, like, Jack Eichel trade proposals. So, you know, as a joke, I kind of made this video, the first Jack Eichel trade reaction video I made, just to kind of poke fun at all the Rangers fans that were annoying me, and now here we are a year later. It's so crazy, too, to think about the difference that a year makes. Like, at this time last year, I was viewing Jack Eichel as, like, this guy who just had an incredible season, like a Hart caliber season. I think he finished top 10 in Hart voting. He went on a 17-game point streak on a team that had nobody, on a team with Ralph Kruger coaching, and as we know, he's a very defensive first-minded coach. So for him, he went on a 17-game point streak. For most of the season, he was on about a 100-point pace, a little lower, a little higher at times. I think he scored like 36 goals in a COVID-shortened season. And at the time, you know, I was pretty, like, I was having fun with the Jack Eichel trade offers because I was like, well, he hasn't requested a trade as far as everyone's saying. He just came off this incredible season. If anyone wanted to trade for Jack Eichel, they would have to pry him off the Sabres roster. He is the heart and soul of this team. He's our captain. So I was saying, like, hey, if you want to trade for Jack Eichel, you better be coming with your best offer, right? Like, you better, and I laid out all this stuff, and now to think a year later, you know, this season he only scored 2 goals. He played injured for most of it. He has a really bad neck injury that they're wondering, you know, the best options for it. Clearly miserable, clearly wants out. So just to think of how much his trade value just took a tank is insane, especially with 5 years left on his contract, and it seems like the Sabres are just in such a hurry to move on from him, which is something that I just can't process. Like, when Jack Eichel gets traded, not if, but when Jack Eichel gets traded, I will talk about it more. I'll share my thoughts on it more. But for right now, I just asked you guys to send me in some offers. About a week ago, I said, all right, guys, I've been trying to avoid it, but I think it's time. Who's ready for a Jack Eichel trade reactions part 3? Leave me a comment below with your best or worst. I don't even care anymore. Jack Eichel trade offers, and I'll do my best not to cry while reading them. Let's see how close we can get. I was really hoping that, like, no one would actually take it seriously and everyone would just kind of comment funny things to cheer me up, and it looks like that's kind of the majority here. So I appreciate you guys, like, getting my vibe. Also, if you ever want to participate in any kind of videos like this, if you want to submit a comment that could be featured in one of my videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification button so you know whenever I post. In the community tab, you'll be notified. So then that way, if I do any more of these reaction videos, you can possibly have your comment featured in one of these videos. And I appreciate everyone who did send in a comment. It looks like we have 538 comments, so I'll see how many I can get through. But as always, thanks for playing along. Let's see what we got here. To Edmonton, Eichel. To Buffalo, McDavid. It's the let's see how things could have been trade. I'm not even so much mad about losing the lottery because, you know, going into it, you knew what our odds were. You knew we only had a 20% chance of winning the lottery. I'm not even mad about that. I'm more so mad about the fact that the Oilers got Draisaitl because we took Reinhart the pick before. That we traded away Ryan O'Reilly for literally nothing. But could you imagine, like, honestly, pretty realistically, our top 3 centers could have been Eichel, Draisaitl, and Ryan O'Reilly. And that's not even too far out of the realm of the possibility. Ugh! Talk about what could have been. A lot could have been different. Eichel to Boston for Taylor Hall to ensure you win the lottery again next year. I'm telling you guys, I was pretty skeptical about that Taylor Hall lottery magic, but wasn't messing around. I would much rather have won the lottery next year or the year after that than this year, but like, yeah. To Nashville, Jack Eichel. To Buffalo, a 21 first and second rounder, Ryan Johansson, Ryan Ellis, and Duchesne's guitar. I'll have to look that up. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, is it this one? Is it this Predators guitar? Look at this. That's pretty sick. It's like a Nashville Predators guitar. For that guitar, that's sick. The 2006 Sabres get Jack Eichel, and the 2021 Sabres get 2006 Ryan Miller. I love that. I always wonder like how different things would have been had we had like better goaltending. And I loved 2006 Ryan Miller. He had that long hair and that goat head jersey, leading us to the conference finals. I loved that team. And can you imagine like Jack Eichel on that 2006 roster? Stanley Cups, guys. Stanley Cups. Toronto receives Jack Eichel. Buffalo receives the Toronto Blue Jays. Sold. Don't even get me started. Don't give me that offer. I'll take it. They're confident of that. Don't tempt her. She might trade the entire team. Yep. 100%. I've been having so much fun with the Blue Jays being in Buffalo this year. Like, don't even, like, that'd be an easy yes for me. I'm already going to be sad when they leave. To Buffalo, Alex Turcotte, Gabe Vilardi, 2021 first, 2022 first. To LA, Jack Eichel. I think, like, if you were asking me, I feel like I would consider that at this point with his injuries fair value, knowing, you know, watching Jack Eichel for all these years, knowing what he's capable of. But I feel like people would look at that and maybe say that even something like that was too high. Because I'm just looking around and seeing all these people talking about the Jack Eichel trade offer and saying that, like, oh, this player's untouchable. Like, the list of players that are untouchable for Jack Eichel is so long, according to the internet. I know that, and I mean, I would imagine that LA, if they were trading for Jack Eichel, would not ever want Quinton Byfield's name to come up. And if I was the Sabres, that's what I would want. I would want Quinton Byfield, and I think that's a scenario where both teams say no. Like, I could see how LA would want a 1-2 punch of Eichel and Byfield for the next, like, however many years. But I did read something. There have been a lot of, like, LA insiders reporting that the Kings don't want Eichel, and they're kind of out in the Eichel sweepstakes. So that's interesting. To Anaheim, Jack Eichel. To Buffalo, Trevor Zegras, Maxime Comtois, 2022 first. Or to the Wild, Jack Eichel plus Ryan Johnson plus a 2022 third. To Buffalo, Marco Rossi, Matthew Boldy, Matt Dumba, and a 2022 first. Honestly, I like both of those, to be honest. Like, I know Ducks fans are probably reading that and going, no! The thing is, like, to me, like, if I'm the Sabres and I'm making a trade, like, I know I've been reading a lot of things about the Ducks saying that Trevor Zegras and Jamie Drysdale are untouchable. And it's just like, I just don't see, like, if those are untouchable, then don't trade Jack Eichel. That's my biggest thing. Like, I understand you wouldn't want to give up, you know, someone like that. Like, I've been thinking a lot about the Ducks because it seems like the Ducks are a team that might really be heavy in on Jack Eichel. And just to think that, you know, a kid that was drafted 9th overall a couple years ago, I mean, I know I love Trevor Zegras. Like, he's one of my favorite young non-Sabres in the league. I actually wanted the Sabres to take Zegras when they took Cousins 7th overall that year. I just don't see how, like, someone like Zegras would be untouchable for someone like Eichel. And I know that's probably what's going to happen. I know if the Sabres are trading to the Ducks and Kevin Adams is a GM who doesn't know what he's doing, I would be probably surprised if we were able to get Zegras. I think we should be able to get Zegras, but I would be surprised if that actually happened because I don't think Kevin Adams is a good general manager at all. Like, Jack Eichel is 24 years old. He's in his prime. You know, yeah, he has that injury issue, but I feel like if you're the Sabres and you're trading with the Ducks, I feel like Zegras has to be the centerpiece, and you probably don't get much else along with it. But I feel like, because I just feel like Jack's ceiling and Trevor Zegras' ceiling, Zegras doesn't have the same ceiling that Jack has, and if this injury is that much of a problem, then that could be a concern. But man, I honestly wouldn't be that upset if the Wild traded for Jack Eichel, because, you know, what do I even care anymore? As long as you're sending him out west, I don't care. I just love the fact that, like, Marco Rossi is a name that comes up a lot. Like why did we take Jack Quinn over Marco Rossi? That's still something my brain a year later can't figure out at all. I think realistically, though, Antonio, those are two, like, pretty good trades. Sam Reinhart for Jack Eichel, 1-for-1. I think Buffalo fleeces the Sabres in this trade. I mean, obviously the most likely Buffalo Sabres move would be to Seattle for... Seems like a great move. A lot of people, too, have been talking about, like, ooh, with the Kraken being on Jack Eichel, and I'm just sitting there like, they don't have anybody. Like, what are they going to trade? What are you talking about? I read something like Seattle would trade the 2nd overall pick and would take Jeff Skinner's contract off our hands for Jack Eichel. And I'm just like, oh my God. Can you imagine? Yeah, I like this one, next one. Eichel to Seattle for any player currently on their team. Right. Another possible trade could be Eichel to Vancouver for Jim Benning. Nah. Okay, here's that exact trade I was talking about. Seattle receives Jack Eichel, Jeff Skinner. Sabres receive the 2nd overall pick in this year's draft. You get Beniers as your replacement for Eichel as compensation for the downgrade in talent of those two. You are free of the worst contract in the league. True. Honestly, if I'm Seattle, I wouldn't do this. Eichel's health is up in the air, and Skinner's contract totally buries whichever franchise it's on, unless Francis believes he can somehow be a 30 to 40 goal scorer again. I'd rather have Beniers and the $19 million in cap spent somewhere else. Interesting to see who you think wins this deal. Yeah, I mean, like, that's not, like, I feel like from the Sabres perspective, like, if you're making an Eichel deal, you're kind of getting into, like, a rebuild mode, so you'd want, like, picks and prospects. So just trading Eichel for, you know, a 2nd-round pick in kind of a down draft year alone, along with $9 million in cap relief. Like, the $9 million in cap relief isn't really the issue, because if we're rebuilding and if we're getting rid of Eichel, if we're getting rid of Sam Reinhart, Ristolainen, like, I don't think cap space is going to be our issue. So from the Sabres perspective, I think I wouldn't do that. I think Seattle would probably love to start their franchise with a talent of someone of Jack Eichel's caliber. But yeah, I think the Sabres gotta look elsewhere. To the Rangers, Jack Eichel. To the Sabres, tickets to a Broadway show of their choice and a 3rd-round pick. Well, that's a good deal. Like, I trade Jack Eichel for Hamilton tickets. Absolutely. So I'm seeing a lot of, I'm just scrolling through and I'm seeing a lot of Eichel for Marner trades. And I saw that a lot on Twitter too, once the Leafs got eliminated. And I find it very interesting. Like, it's obvious, like, it'd be a big old no from me. One, because I don't think any Sabre, like, it's bad enough that we're trading Jack Eichel. It's another to envision Jack Eichel in a Toronto Maple Leafs uniform, right? Like absolutely worst case scenario, guys. Like, that. I don't know if that's, like, a serious thing that Leafs fans are talking about, or if it's, like, you know, just a hypothetical whatever, like, joke. But, like, Eichel's better. Like, he's obviously, like, the injury is the biggest thing, and that's why I'm so against the idea of trading Jack Eichel now, because of his injury. Like, he probably will recover. Like, everyone seems pretty confident that he's going to recover, but, I mean, the injury is kind of a bit of a wild card. But in terms of Marner, like, Jack Eichel's, what, $1 million cheaper, right? Has been on a much better team than Eichel, with, you know, similar production. Like, I didn't watch a ton of Leafs playoffs, but Twitter didn't seem too happy with Mitch Marner. So I'm interested to see what they do there, because the Leafs are eventually going to need some cap space, I would imagine. And I'd be interested to see if Leafs fans didn't seem too happy with Marner. I'd be interested to see if he might be on his way out. To Detroit, Jack Eichel. To Buffalo, the Detroit Pistons and Mikal Bridges. And to Arizona, a tube of water from Niagara Falls and 1% share in Little Caesars. Don't even tempt me. You don't know how quickly I would sell Jack Eichel off for an NBA team. Like, you don't even know. It would happen so quickly. I want the NBA. I want the NBA and the MLB in Buffalo so badly. You don't even know. To LA, Jack Eichel. To Buffalo, Alex Turcotte, the Kings 2021 first-round pick, and a lifetime supply of chicken wings. I mean, I already have chicken wings. We live in Buffalo. That's another thing, too. Like, Jack Eichel, like, with all this drama, has just been so exhausting to me. Like, I'd sell him for food at this point. This is why I'm not the GM, right? Jersey, Jack Eichel and Tage Thompson. To Buffalo, Jack Hughes, Mackenzie Blackwood, and a 2022 second-round pick. Sure. At this point. I like Jack Hughes. Like, it's just so crazy, the difference in value from, like, I'm just thinking about last year, how if I would have saw that offer, I'd be like, go away with that. But now I'm just like, whatever, I don't even care. Eichel to Calgary for a lifetime supply of Flames jerseys. That'd be enough for me. I always talk about how much I love the Flames jerseys. And I actually saw a picture of Jack Eichel photoshopped in a Calgary Flames jersey, and I was like, yo. That's pretty nice. Eichel to the Buffalo Beauts for the entire Beauts roster. At least the Beauts have made the playoffs and advanced to the championship game 4 out of their 6 seasons. That is very true. They even won the championship in their league. Who cares if there are only 4 teams? Still did it. Hugs, condolences, a lifetime supply of Spotted Cow, which is beer you can only buy in Wisconsin, and free therapy sessions from the Rangers for Jack. Free therapy sessions, huh? If we get free therapy and free beer, you can have Jack Eichel. To Boston, Eichel at 50% retained. To Buffalo, a second-round pick. Shut up. This is why I have no faith in Kevyn Adams as, being able to make this trade. One, because he seems like he's rushing it for some reason. He has all the leverage with Eichel having 5 years left on his contract and he's rushing it. Two, that Taylor Hall trade he made was so bad. So what makes me believe that he's going to make a good Jack Eichel trade? Like, oh my God. That's the biggest thing that I have is like, no matter what we do, no matter who we trade for, no matter how excellent of a day Kevyn Adams has on the day that he trades Jack Eichel, we will not win the Jack Eichel trade. That is a guarantee. There's nothing that we can do that will make us the better team and the other team not as good. Like, we will not win the Jack Eichel trade. You cannot win when you have a guy who is coming off of an injury-riddled season, who actively wants out, and you're a horrible team. You have a horrible record as a general manager, as a franchise since the Bagulas took over. Like, you're not winning a Jack Eichel trade. So whatever happens, like, you just, at this point, as long as it's not an O'Reilly level horrible trade, like, as long as we get something out of it, whatever. I just don't even care anymore. Honestly. The Rangers, Jack Eichel to the Sabres, Kaapo Kakko, Ryan Strome, Matthew Robertson, 2021 first, which is 15th overall, and a second. Yeah, I mean, like, if you would have asked me last year, I would have been like, yeah, that's probably where Jack Eichel's value at. A roster player, a young potential elite player, a first-round pick, and especially being top 15. Yeah, I mean, that's probably where I would have been at. Like, with everything that's happened, at this point, I doubt he even fetches that. Like, to me, I feel like that's what he should fetch, but I don't think he even will anymore. Which is kind of remarkable to me, considering, like I said, that he still does have 5 years left on his contract, so the Sabres should not be in any kind of rush to trade him. I don't know what the Sabres are doing. If this is a Pagula thing that Jack pissed off the Pagulas, so they want to ship him out or something. Like, I don't know what their deal is, man, but I don't know what's going on. I hope we get some kind of clarity after it happens. I hope Kevyn Adams is a little more transparent about what's going on, why he felt the need so desperately to trade him. But I guess we'll have to just wait and see. To LA, Jack Eichel and Buffalo's 2021 second-round pick, which is 31st overall, for Quinton Byfield, the 8th overall pick in this year's draft, and a first-round pick next year, top 2 protected, and becomes 2023 first if LA wins the lottery, and Jonathan Quick. See, like, that's the thing. Like, that's where I'm at, where I, like, looking at that, like, I feel like LA wouldn't give up Quinton Byfield, and then to add in, like, 2 firsts, obviously we're throwing in the 31st, which I think would make it better, and then taking Jonathan Quick. Like, I just think that's fair, and I feel like people would be looking at that and be like, oh, LA's giving up way too much there, but, like, I just think wherever Jack goes, like, he's going to be out of Buffalo, and everyone plays well out of Buffalo, right? Everyone leaves Buffalo, has success, and that's going to happen with Jack Eichel. He's going to get healthy. It's going to be a reset on his career. He's going to play with a chip on his shoulder because he played all this time, and all these other guys like McDavid and Matthews and all these other guys are getting the recognition that, Jack wanted, Jack thought he would have had by now in his career. I'm telling you, like, the second Jack Eichel steps on the ice in a New Jersey, he's gonna have success. I'm pretty sure I said that about Taylor Hall too, and a lot of people were telling me how wrong I was. Chicago gets Jack Eichel, Henry Jokiharju, and a 7th. Buffalo gets Alex Nylander, Portillo's chocolate cake. I got Portillo's name right this time. Again, don't tempt me with food. I was actually just thinking about Alex Nylander the other day too, which is funny because, like, I was thinking about how the Sabres got to this point. I'm like, they drafted Alex Nylander! Why? Oh, because I saw a video of Mikhail Sergachev, and I was like, we could have had Sergachev. Everyone knew the pick was Sergachev. How did they take Alex Nylander? Like, even getting Henry Jokiharju from it, still, like, Sergachev or McAvoy were just sitting right there. But no, Alex Nylander, great idea. That's why bad teams stay bad, guys. Eichel to the Blues for a first. Vince Dunn, some IMOs, I don't know what that is. Pizza, some Budweiser for Sabres fans, and a puppy. Sold. Eichel would look so good with O'Reilly. I've said so many times how badly I want the Sabres to just get a team service puppy, a team service dog, because why not, right? It's something the fans would enjoy, so why not? And they won't. But do you remember that thing where, like, Jack Eichel, like, there was, like, this rumor that went around that Jack Eichel and Ryan O'Reilly, when they played together, didn't like each other. So they, like, intentionally started, like, playing with the media and, like, not giving each other high fives or something, like, and they were just, like, joking around. So That would be funny. Eichel for a first next year, Trocheck and Gardner. And we give y'all lots of sweet tea and barbecue. In all honesty, the Canes won't be in that conversation. We're pretty set with Aho, Trocheck, and Stahl. Yeah, I mean, like, I always thought of the Canes, honestly, as, you know, a potential spot for Jack. It doesn't really seem like they've been in any conversations that, you know, I've been reading on Twitter or anything like that. But I always thought that, like, hey, they'd probably, you know, if they want to truly become contenders, they could go get them. I love how anytime I do one of these, it's always the barbecue and sweet tea from Canes fans, which would be a definite yes for me. Minnesota gets Jack Eichel. Buffalo gets Dumba Rossi, first-round pick, 2022 first-round pick. Minnesota special tater tot hot dish. I don't know what that is, but I love how all of you just understand that how quickly I would sell off players for food. Tater tot hot dish. You're gonna have to tell me about that because I don't know what that is, but okay. Jack Eichel for Capo Caco, Philip Beadle. Zach Jones, number 15 in the 2021 draft, and number 64 in the 2021 draft. Yeah, like, I'm sure on the other side, Rangers fans are like, me, because I know Capo Caco is on the long list of Rangers untouchables. To me, though, like, if I could help it, I just, like, there would be no part of me, unless the deal was just incredible, that I would want the Sabres to trade Jack Eichel within the conference. If it's up to me, I'm shipping him out as far west as possible. That's what I want, because, like, at the very least, like, at least Sabres fans would only have to deal with him a couple times, and every time he'd be on TV playing, it'd be, like, past Sabres fans' bedtime anyway. That's what I want. Like, send him out to the West Coast, let him play at 10:30 so I don't have to watch, and I'm fine with that. I think he goes to Vegas. Eichel for Fleury, Tuck, first, Krebs, or Glass, and a third. Then Buffalo flips Fleury at half retained to Toronto for Engvall, a second and a third. That'd be interesting. I don't think Vegas wants to give up Fleury. Fleury's just way too good. Can you imagine Vegas getting Eichel though? Holy moly! Like, if we're getting like a roster player, like you said, like a roster player, you know, a goalie, a first, and a prospect. Like, I don't think you could really complain about that. I don't think Vegas would. Maybe they would. I don't know. How comfortable are you with Robin Leonard as your goalie forever? Eichel to Anaheim for Ricard Raquel, Sam Steele, third overall pick. You could get Owen Power and a center or wing, although I doubt Eichel wants to go to another rebuild. It's not really Eichel's choice at this point. His no-move clause doesn't kick in until next year. So, in theory, the Sabres could just send him to another rebuilding team and watch him suffer even more. And that's the thing, too, talking about, like, these teams like Anaheim, LA, all these teams that I feel like are setting themselves up very well for a very nice rebuild with all these young pieces that may not be there yet. So that's why I don't understand why they're so heavily involved in, like, you know, Jack Eichel trade talk, because I mean, obviously that would really heavily accelerate their rebuild, but I don't know. Like, again, to me, if I'm trading with Anaheim, I'm pushing hard for Zegras, and I don't, like, because if you're the Sabres, it's not like his contract is expiring anytime soon, because you could just be like, okay, then I won't trade him, you know? But Kevin Adams just seems to really not like Jack Eichel. Or someone in the Sabres organization doesn't like Jack Eichel if the talks are this heavy right now. To Buffalo, Mitch Marner, a second-round pick and a fifth-round pick. To Toronto, Jack Eichel. A broken soul for a broken soul. See, this is the thing. I feel like with the Blue Jays now being in Buffalo and the Maple Leafs experiencing, like, just devastating heartbreak and, you know, just sadness surrounding their team, I feel like Sabres fans and Leafs fans have never, like, related to each other more. Obviously, it's a different kind of heartbreak and miserableness. But I just feel like I haven't been mad at Leafs fans for so long. I feel like oh, we're in this together, guys. Which is hilarious. Eichel in this year's first and a 22 second for Marner or the Blue Jays. I bet you know which one I'm picking. Eichel for a first-round pick, Philip Broberg, signing rights for UFA Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and a signed Connor McDavid jersey. Not bad. I like that. Can you imagine Eichel and McDavid on the same team? Or even better, because, like, there were talks about, like, Eichel going to Calgary. Could you imagine a Battle of Alberta with McDavid and Eichel? That I would sign up for. That I would stay up past my bedtime to watch. Eichel in a 7th to Ottawa for Colin White, Eric Branson, 10th overall pick, Vitaly Abramov, Logan Brown, and 3 second-round picks. This is what I loved about last year's Jack Eichel videos. Like, is it a deal breaker if we take off that 7th-round pick? Like, just Jack Eichel for all those things. Sounds like a plan to me. I'll even make that 7th a 6th. You know? To Columbus, Eichel and a 4th. To Buffalo, Max Domi, Jack Roslovic, Jonas Corposalo, Columbus's first in 2021 and 2022. I feel like I have heard their name come up, maybe not for Jack, but for Sam Reinhart. Like, I feel like there was talk about, like, Sam Reinhart for one of their goalies, which But I'd be interested to see how Columbus fits in as a potential trade partner for the Sabres. Eichel for GM Yzerman. Yes! Throw a second if you want, because I know you love those. No, you know I hate them! Do you accept this theoretical trade? I really think this is what Buffalo needs the most. Let's do a real rebuild. Yes! What Buffalo needs the most is a good general manager. That is exactly what they need. If they're going into a rebuild mode, they need a real general manager. Obviously, they tried for full down, tear it down, intentionally lose tank to try to get that guy, and it didn't work because they've had horrible general managers running the ship. So, yeah. Like, honestly, at this point. I could have the Rangers for 3 firsts, Capo Caco, Ryan Strome, and Georgiev. What I find so funny is that, like, last year when I did this, Rangers fans were like, Jack Eichel for D'Angelo was second, and, like, Kravtsov or something. And now Rangers fans, I feel like, are being a lot more, like, giving on their side, which, talk about full circle. That's a 180. Again, though, for me, it's like the Eastern Conference thing. Like, I feel like if the Sabres are trading with the Rangers, I'd want more from them than I would take from, like, a Western Conference team, because I don't want to deal with him anymore. Like, I don't want to hear about him all the time. I don't want him to prevent us in the future from, like, a playoff spot because, like, we're fighting for a wild card spot. But nope, there's Jack Eichel playing us a bunch of times a year and, like, killing everybody else, and we can't get into a wild card spot because of it. To Montreal, Eichel. To Buffalo, Guhle, Tatar, Lehkonen, 2 first-round picks, and Kakaniemi. Holy moly. That Caden Guhle? We had Brendan Guhle. That didn't really work out well for us. Eichel to Colorado for Kadri Byram and 2 first-rounders. Honestly, like, if Eichel goes anywhere, like, the only one that wouldn't totally break my heart would be if he went to Colorado. But can you imagine, like, Jack Eichel? They don't need him. Like, they're a good enough team without him. Can you imagine if they got Jack Eichel, though? Oh, my God. I couldn't imagine Nazem Kadri in a Sabres jersey, though. Gross. Yeah, Colorado would be the only team that would, like, actually sit well with my heart. Maybe Minnesota, too. To Montreal, Jack Eichel. To Buffalo, Ryan Poehling, Jonathan Drouin. Rights to Thomas Tatar, Jake Allen in 2022 first. And, of course, the triumphant return of Paul Byron. I want you guys to at least get some quantity here. Paul Byron. Remember the first video I did of this, I, like, made a joke about Paul Byron that I forget that, you know, he's even in the league all the time, and then I hear his name, and then, like, I remember Montreal fans were like, they came at me. They were like, don't talk about Paul Byron like that. And I'm like, he was on the Sabres for, like, a hot second. He did nothing, and we get rid of him, and another team likes him or something. That's so funny. And then he scored, like, that ridiculous goal against the Leafs in the playoffs. Hilarious. Strome, Kubalik, Boquist, and a 2022 first-round pick to Buffalo for Jack Eichel. I mean, in all honesty, like, I feel like if I'm the Sabres, and this is not what's happening clearly because they seem to really be pushing for picks, like, sooner rather than later, like, for this draft, which I don't get because, again, you have no scouts, and this is a weak draft year in a year where you couldn't even really scout properly anyway. If I'm the Sabres, I probably push a little bit more for 2022 first-round picks, just because I think it makes more sense. But that's just me. Eichel for Marco Rossi, Kevin Fiala, 2022 first and a 2023 second. Can you imagine, like, if the Sabres actually traded Jack Eichel and got Marco Rossi when they could have just had Marco Rossi anyway last year? Oh my God. No matter what the trade is, I feel like the reaction to the trade, because you know it's going to be bad, I feel like the reaction to the trade is just going to be the best part. Like, I can't even be mad anymore for whatever happens. I'm just gonna laugh. I like this. By the way, we have a new verb in St. Louis. To Berglund a player means to trade them to a team so bad it crushes their love for the game and destroys their soul, mental health, and moral compass. Holy shit. Okay, but to be fair, though, like, Berglund didn't even try. Like, he was miserable that he got traded. He didn't even try. He didn't even try to fit in. He didn't even try to be a part of the Sabres. When he was on the ice, he didn't try. So, like, Berglund was just whiny about it. He probably just wanted to stay in St. Louis. He was mad that he, like, didn't submit his no-trade list in time or whatever. Like, that can't even be on us. He didn't even give us a chance. Eichel and Sam to Calgary for Tkachuk, Monahan, and a third. I find the Flames to be very interesting because, like, you hear a lot about how they might be considering, like, blowing up their team and kind of, like, it just seems like their main guys you hear a lot in trade rumors. I would love the Sabres to find a way to get Matthew Tkachuk. There's this one trade I saw which I thought was interesting. It was just a proposal. Like, it wasn't anything serious or anything, but it was Sam Reinhart and Victor Olofsson for Matthew Tkachuk. And I was like, that's actually interesting. Like, you got Sam Reinhart with the best season of his career as a center with, you know, without playing with Jack Eichel, and then, you know, you get Victor Olofsson, who's every year at least a 20-goal scorer, for Matthew Tkachuk, who I think Sabres fans would love. And you get Sam Reinhart playing for his dad's old team. I don't know. I saw that and I was just kind of interested in that. I'd be interested to hear other people's take on that. To Boston for Taylor Hall and Lazar. We'll even throw in a second round. See, this is why you can't make bad trades. No one will take you seriously. Kevin Adams. Eichel for Scheifele and Dubois. Did you guys see what Mark Scheifele said after they got eliminated from the playoffs? Like, that was, like, the cringiest thing I've ever... Like, I've never had a problem with Mark Scheifele. I always kind of liked him. And then, like, what he said after the playoffs when he said that... I thought it was going to be... I don't even remember who he said, but it was the Department of Player Safety who shut me down. It's like, no, it was you who shut you down. And then whatever else he said. Ugh, I don't like him anymore. Eichel and our 5th, 6th, 7th rounders... and a 2022 4th for Jamie Drysdale, Trevor Zegras, and their first round pick of 2021, so like the 3rd overall pick. See, a year ago, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right. This year, they'd be like, oh my god, no, that's all untouchable. You know, of all the years that he had to, like, hurt himself, right? I go for one of our cuff rings here in Montreal and Paul Byron, because why not? Why not? Paul Byron, let's do it. I won't even pretend to know what a player like Eichel is worth. Guess I'll have to trust Kevin Adams to let us know. Ugh! Don't trust Kevin Adams. I certainly don't. To Toronto, Jack Eichel, Derek Roy, Tony Ludman, and a $25 Walton Galleria gift card. To Buffalo, Mitch Marner, Nick Antropov, and a 2-minute delay of game penalty for puck over the glass. Fair for both sides. Tony Ludman, Derek Roy, oh my god. I love just having old names come up. And I feel like Canadians love the Galleria Mall, so that'd probably be a good deal for Toronto. Montreal, Eichel cusses Reinhart and Dahlin. To Buffalo, the guy who said, yo, 2,500 will feel like 25,000, swear to God. It's so poopy. Overpaying at that point. I mean, that's pretty funny. That guy was pretty funny. Jack Eichel traded for the rights to sign Jimmy Vesey and Cal Peterson. Hurts just typing that, yeah. The list of players that didn't want to sign with the Sabres even though we had the rights. Ryan Johnson, the Sabres first round pick, is kind of coming to the end of college too. Can you imagine? Another one of those. You don't want to hear any offers right now. The guy's value has never been lower, and not just because of the season and the injuries. Sabres lose a lot of leverage when the whole league knows he wants out. And that, guys, is exactly the point. Like, I just don't feel good about this. I don't know how anyone can feel good about this. The fact that, like, he will never have lower trade value in his entire career from now until the end of his career. Like, unless he suffers so many more bad injuries that, you know, his career is kind of derailed because of that. I just don't see how, like, I don't know how it makes sense to trade a guy with 5 years left on his contract when his value could not possibly be any lower than it currently is. So, like, that's pretty much it in a nutshell, guys. I don't, like, this is heartbreaking. I know I'm kind of making light of it, and I know, like, I appreciate you guys who send in a lot of funny comments and kind of cheered me up a little bit and making me smile a little bit, but in all honesty, like, this is incredibly deflating to be a Sabres fan. I don't know how Sabres fans can possibly get excited for next year. What's going to be a bad Jack Eichel trade? You know, it's not going to be good whatever it will be, because of everything that's going on. Either way, this is going to be one hell of an offseason, right? Like, it's definitely not going to be uninteresting, that's for sure. It's definitely going to be worth paying attention to. I'll, of course, be posting all the Sabres news like I always do. I'm just not going to be happy about it. Anyways, guys, thank you for sending in all of those comments. I know I couldn't get to all of them, but I did go through all of them, and I appreciate everyone who sent in comments and, you know, made me laugh a little bit. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know how soon the Jack Eichel trade is happening. All the talk is getting louder and louder, so that would probably indicate that it's not super, super far away, so I guess we're going to see how close we got to it. Again, if you want to ever be a part of these videos, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button so you'll always be notified when I post for these kind of videos. And also, while you're down there, hit that thumbs up button because it helps me and my channel, and it's free to do and easy. But as always, thank you for watching this video. Here's to a fun end to the Stanley Cup playoffs and hopefully not a totally depressing and deflating Buffalo Sabres offseason. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Go Bills. Go Blue Jays. Bye, guys.